Okay. Let's give it a second. Here we are. Now I should be able to find the link as well. Just quickly setting up the stream and then we'll get started with what we're doing today, which is atmospheric sound design. So I'm going to be making a whole bunch of different atmospheres. I just want to post a link in Discord so people can find it. View on YouTube. There we are. I can quickly post that on Discord here. There we are. So I should be live and everything should be okay. And I'll just get started. So the plan is, let's turn this into a MIDI track. The plan is to do some more of that atmospheric sound design. One of the latest videos that I did was on atmospheric sound design. Hello Malojafai, how are you doing? So yeah, the plan is, as you can see, these are all the old recordings that I have from the video. If you saw that video, you know that this is the same project. I just made a new track, so it's a little bit cleaner. I can just work with and start here. I don't have to overwrite any of these recordings. And we can do some sound design. So I'm just going to set up the bases here so I can see what's going on. What we need to do is add our delay and our reverb back in, because I want to, throughout this whole thing, I want to, right, for this one, we all have used the same reverb, the same delay. I want 2 or 3 different delay and reverb versions throughout the whole thing. Am I already in Milan? Well, I'm not technically in Milan, but I am, yes, at my new student house. So this is the new house. That's why we're doing just a chill test stream here to see if everything works properly, which it seems to be doing. So that's nice. Hey bro, I just want to say that I appreciate you sharing your knowledge on sound design. Thank you. Thank you. I really enjoy sharing knowledge and getting good feedback on what people think about what I do and the sound design. So I'm glad you enjoy it. So I'm just going to, just as a quick setup, get ourselves a note. We're still going A sharp is the plan, because I want more, where is it? Atmospheres. I want more atmospheres in here. Now there are 24. I want to point for, let's say, 35 per key, and then we have to do all of these keys as well, except for this one here. There's already a few. And then, so I want to get the 35 to 40 done for this, for the A sharp part of the pack, and then we'll also do like C, maybe some D sharp, G sharp, G, whatever we feel like. For now, we're just going to go A sharp. So let's open up a delay and a reverb that I like. I think I'll just do the standard setup that I use, which is Echo Boy Jr. And then we'll play around with these. We'll give it a bit of a feedback, like 80%, and then just dotted 8 notes, which is kind of the sidetrend standard. And then as a reverb, instead of using the waves, we can try different things. So let's set up a waves reverb, which is H reverb, this one here. And I want to get a bit more high end, not too much. We do want it to roll off a little bit at the high end to keep it natural. But something like this, just looking at the curve here. My cam is frozen. Now it should be okay, but it might freeze again. I need to, if that happens more, then that's a problem with the USB port that I have it plugged in. because the cam link that I'm using is very sensitive to the USB port that you're working with. So let's try some different things here. So if that keeps being a problem, I'll just have to fix that off stream, because that's not something I can fix right now. But we'll keep an eye on it. So I'm using also Supermassive. This is free, by the way. And Supermassive is really cool because you can switch between full delay and full reverb. So for now, I'm going to kind of set up a basic reverb patch. Let's listen to that. And I'm going to go for just a full mix so I can hear what's going on. Something like that. It does add some delay here, so you might want to try something like this more. Delay, reverbish. There are different modes here. This is kind of what I want. What I don't like is that this is not like it's more left sounding than right. Love skin. The skin that I'm using for Ableton. It's a cool skin. I might do a video on this because this skin, I found out about this skin for like working at night, so it's a lot darker. Yeah. The skin is called Arval Dark Plus. So this is just a darker skin for Ableton. Like if you take on the normal dark skin and then this one, you can see definitely the difference, or the mid dark, or this one. So it's a lot darker, so it's nicer to work at night. So if you Google Arval Dark Plus, I think it's free. You should be able to find it. My goal here is to set up a few different reverbs and then we can switch between them. I'm basically going to set up like an audio effect track first that we can use. So we'll drop in a third, go for a large character hole bright, which is one that I really like. And I'm pointing around like 4 to 5 seconds on reverb on each of these, and they're all fully wet. So now if we want to implement a dry wet, we can throw on our dry wet signal here and then just throw this on the wet track. And then we can use another chain selector, hopefully. Can you do that with 3? I think you can. And then we can like mix. You have to do it like this, and then I think distribute ranges equally. And now we set this to there, this to there, and we can set it up like this and this, I think. And then we have to make sure that it's like this. So now you can kind of mix and match the different reverbs that you have. We'll go for 3 right now. So I can set this to macro 1 and then this to macro 1 as well. Call this select reverb, and then this is going to be the dry wet. I'm just quickly making this rack so we can play with it. And now we should be able to just go like this. Of course I have it soloed, so that's kind of cool. We can, let's mess with this, because this one, it doesn't really sound that great. What can we do here? Some modulation kind thing. I have some hard time with the modulation here in how this works. Let's turn FM off. It's not really giving me the kind of sound that I want here. It has that metallic kind of thing, right? I don't know if that's just the sound of it. I'm just going to mess with some random knobs and then we'll see. That's more like it. So now we have, for the reverb, a rack that we can use. And we could do the same for the delay. So then we have a delay chooser as well, and we'll also do, I think just 2 delays is okay, because the other one that I like is H delay stereo here. So go like this. We'll add a new chain. And this is the easier version to do, because you can just, if I can get it to, yes, like this. Just have one go like that and the other like this. There might be some, you might be able to hear some things in terms of the in the from the window, from the road coming, because I'm on the 1st floor. So there's a car passing by with music very loud. You might be able to hear that, but hopefully it should be fine in terms of quality. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this kind of test stream, so I can see if everything sounds nice and there's not too much background noise and all those kind of things. So this is the select delay, and then we have dry wet for the delay. I keep clicking off of it, that's annoying. And if we now group these two together, we can open the macros and just go macro 1, macro 2, and then 3 and 4. Dry wet for the reverb, and then dry wet for the delay. And now I can collapse all of this because we don't need that really. Even just do like that, and this will just be let's color them nicely so it's easy to see what everything is. I can save this, the ambience rack. The only thing I didn't check if our delays are fully wet in the wet signal. Also, I put this on the wrong channel. Error, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. That's a problem. Also, my camera had another issue, so I'm going to turn that off. And then I can also turn this off, and it's just nicer here. So this one is fully wet. How about the Echo Boy? The Echo Boy isn't, so we have to set that fully wet as well. Here we'll set the same, like 80% feedback, and now we have 2 delays as well. I hope the connection is good again. It shows excellent connection on my part here. Streamer health. I am getting some issues with connection, I think it says, but I don't know. So that's the reverb, and then we can add delay and select. final thing I want to do is set this to ping pong. Okay, so now we can collapse everything. And we have our ambience here. So now let's get into the actual sound design part of this. I'll have to look into my cam issues. So the way I've been doing this is I've been sound designing into a fully wet reverb usually. And let's just select a random value here. And then it's just a matter of like creating a tone and then adding distortion to it. So you get some of those saw harmonics out of it again. So a tube distortion should work fine for that. I'm going to drive it pretty hard and then we should be able to right, get something like that. And now you morph it and do all kinds of crazy things with it. So we can do wavetable position like this. I'm going to turn down my volume. I hope the volume of the audio that we're making isn't too loud in regards to my voice. I think I had it set up correctly from the last time, but the stuff that we're doing now might be a bit louder than what we did last time. Here I'm going to take input from effects so we can hear, or we can record that later. That's nice. Let's do some volume stuff. So I'm going to go down a bit, and then here and here we're going to go down a lot. And maybe distort it a bit more towards the end. Hello Davak, how are you doing? That's a cool comb filter effect. Do you see how it's like comb filtering here? Maybe we can do something with that. Like add another one on top. So normal comb plus here. Let's add a bit of drive in here. And drive this up as well to kind of compensate for that volume loss you get from the comb filter. And finally, I want to add some more movement to it. So I'm just going to create like a band here, which is going to sweep down and up like this. That's nice. It kind of builds up towards a high end, kind of high energy thing. So you would be able to actually use this in the context of a mix or in the context of a production, rather than it just being a cool sound. It's always a good idea to leave it ring for a while so that you're sure the reverb is no longer there, because here, if you listen, it still has that little bit of reverb. So we really want it to fade out nicely. And then we just do like this to make sure that there's 100% a fade off there at the end. And then you can consolidate it. I've shown this trick in the video itself as well, that this is based on. And then I just drag it in and turn it into a sample. I wish there was an option that you can just drag stuff in and it doesn't make a project. (25A sharp). So that's the first one done, and now we can just move on. So I'm doing this into like a session so I can keep all of the ideas and all of the sounds here and play with them later as well if I want to. So for now, we make a new audio track, and we can just move on to the next like section here. So now we'll do an 8-bar one, because I want to mix up the lengths as well, so you have different useful lengths. And it's just, again, from the start, we create a tone, get some saw harmonics out of it, preferably with the distortion, because that gives it that nice gritty psychedelic effect that we're after. And then you record it. So now I can just easily set something like a different delay and a reverb, and try to sound design something into that. Maybe we'll do a higher note. So right now that sounds really boring. I might do some cool stuff with my tone pack. Let's try some cool things here. So one thing that's strange but cool for sound design is if you have like a tone like we have here where there's nothing happening on the wavetable position, you can go in and say select a warp mode and then just render that, and then you select a different warp mode. Oh, and you render that as well. And then finally let's do a remap to all of this. And then we render that as well. This might sometimes work, this might sometimes not. And then obviously we turn off the warp mode. And now we have crazy stuff happening to the wave. We can play with that. Let's just have a clean go through so you can hear what kind of a mess that makes. We can even go one further if we want, if we do another remap maybe. Going like this. So then it's basically just stacking those remaps on top of each other. And now we turn it off. So that's an easy way to get like complex morphing sounds out of a very simple sound. We can even do that with a saw wave. So if you randomize the phase of a saw wave, you get this really gritty but still saw wave like sound, right? You could do that here. So let's try an individual remap first here. And this is just quickly to kind of, oh, oscillator B. And then we'll do, let's actually do a very similar one, but on 2 octaves. So now it's working on 2 octaves for some reason. I don't really know what the difference is, but it might work. So now we have this changing tone. Now obviously now it's an octave up, so we need to turn that down. But this is definitely something we can play with. So now going into our effects, we can mess just with the wavetables. Let's have one sweep like that, and then we'll have this be like a little bit more of a complex layer on top. Like this, and then we'll do something here like that. There's already that, obviously the whole reverb and delay is kind of smearing it all together, but there's already like a little bit of that movement going through the whole thing. So we can emphasize that a little bit, again with the trick that I showed before with just an EQ and some bands going up and down. We can maybe like follow for the first part the movement that we had here, and then just go up to high end, and we'll use something like this, which kind of does the same as well. Goes down, flips under it here, and then it goes up again also for a rising effect. Are we already distorting? Yes, kind of. We can distort that harder if we want to. We can go up to here for the distortion. That's kind of nice, kind of aggressive kind of sounding. What I want is a better fundamental. So I wanted to have a little bit more grit. So let's try pitch shifter. We'll try a few different ones, because the new pitch shifter from Ableton is also really cool. So that this shifter device, again, for that's my last video. So you can turn that down. Oh, it goes down 2 octaves. That's nice. Let's first try it with this one. And then we'll also try this one. Here we don't have to set any compensation kind of thing, I think. I don't know, I think I like the first one more, because this one is a bit wobbly. That might be fixable. You see how in the spectrum there it like wobbles? Part of it is that we set the dry wet that's higher. We can do it like this and then just have it come in here, like halfway in between. Go just a bit higher than 50%, so it kind of takes over. That's cool. I think that's usable. So I'm always kind of looking at how does this fit into a production. How would you put this into a production? And the truth is that these samples, they're a little bit over the top. So it's not like something you would layer, maybe. But in terms of usability, I think this is definitely a cool sound that you can maybe like put into an intro or in a breakdown of your track. That's really where the ambience comes most, or is best used in those kind of situations. So here it also builds up nicely towards that 8 bar point. So if you warp this correctly and use that correctly, you can really use this maybe to, I don't know, start your pre-drop here and then have your drop start here, or even just have this at your drop. You would then take this and add like a long delay on it if you wanted to like ring out in your drop, and then you just play it like this, right? So would you have your drop like this, and then this is the part before the drop where it's a little bit lower energy, and then here you have like a fade in, something like that, and then your drop kicks off, maybe another vocal. So that's kind of the idea of these kind of samples, is that they're usable within the context of a mix, which is something you should strive for. I should call this differently, by the way, because otherwise it's the same as this here. There seems to be something wrong here. Vector psychedelic atmosphere. There we are. So I think we'll do a few more here. If you guys want, I can also do something else, obviously, because this is just kind of a test stream. If you guys enjoyed this, then I'll gladly continue. Let's try something else. Let's try a face plant here, just to mess around a little bit. The cool thing about face plant, what I really like, is just to throw in a whole bunch of oscillators like this, these basic ones, and then just select a few different waves, and then you can just set up a very complex, strange like modulator or FM setup here. So now we're just going up in terms of FM, like this is doing that, that is doing that, that is doing that, and then this will do here. Let's try something like this, just a little bit of grid around that sine wave. But the cool thing is that you don't have to stop there, so you can add something like this, and then here as well, and you already see we get a whole different strange waveform already. So we'll move it around once more, and we can even, if you want, just change this phase around, and you can see you can basically like position where those gritty little things are. Here, we want some grit there. I'm just kind of looking for the right place to put them, and I'm trying to like space them out almost like evenly, so we get a nice sound. Now this is, I think, a very nice tone. You always have to test it. Oh. Something like that. And now we just set up a whole bunch of different FM modulations. So we set this one up on macro 1, and we set up a macro 2, and then maybe like a macro 3. We'll take one of those. Oh. I'm just kind of going at random, selecting different single macros. to turn off. And then here we had like this, I think. So you can see now each of them is controlling one FM amount, basically. And we can write in our note. Let's do a 4-bar note here. And now it's just a matter of adding that movement again, that which really makes a texture great if you're doing this kind of sound design, is that whole movement going through it. I don't know if anybody of you who is watching is also producing right now, and if you're doing like the same thing as me and that's why you're watching. But that's a tip to take away. In this kind of sound design, when you're doing atmospheric stuff like we are doing now, the movement is everything. So we'll add some random movement here. I'm basically kind of going at random. I'm not really sure how it's going to work. Freak Flux. Nice name. How are you doing? We might be able to add some more. You can see that it should be changing the texture. Yeah. Like the wave is changing, but it's not enough for me. One thing we can try is if we remove the original sine wave, if it gets better. So we'll set a very steep filter so that it's just removed. And let's add a saw wave in the mix. Right here. Or maybe, yeah, I think I want it under the filter. And then just level that down a little bit. So this is just going to add some stuff here. Can I close those out? I don't think I can, right? I can make a group. And I believe, yeah, move these into the group. So we can, because we don't really need these anymore, and now we have a little bit more space to work with. Oh. Let's distort this after it goes through our high pass filter. So now I hope that it's a little bit more complex. Greetings from Germany. Oh, greetings from you from, or to you from Italy. Nice to see you here. It is not the movement that I want it to be. Which one is the EQ where you can shift it? Slice EQ? Yeah, slice EQ. So, oh, I want you to be not a shell, I want you to be a peak. Ah, yeah, it automatically becomes a shell afterwards. Let's do something like this. I think we should be able to modulate these. In some way. Let's leave that as 6. I'm kind of just setting up random ones. Isn't there a way to make these movable? Somebody who knows Slice EQ here. Faceband is really nice to learn synthesize, I think. Yeah. The cool thing about Faceband is what I said before, the way that you're doing all of this FM stuff to create your tones, like this tone here. It's really intuitive because you're adding very little steps to it. My goal was to move these around, these knobs here. Is there a way to do that? Does anybody know? A side channel to mid channel only, or left and right? That's not what I want. I want to assign this to one of the macros. Can I just... Oh, that's nice. You can just do it like that. And then we'll have the second one there. We'll have one on 3 going down. And then on 2 going down as well. Let's see what this does, just as a test. or turn off the ambience, maybe. It kind of works. It's easy with the macro knob. Yeah, that works. I think I want this in the high end a bit more. If I duplicate this, will this have the same? Yes. I can add another one to the offset itself and have this go slightly down and this go up. Oh, I don't want that. I want this to then slightly move it down, and macro 1 is going to bring it up again. So the goal here is to create a whole bunch of movements, right? So like we're doing now. Hopefully this should give us, let's loop this so we can just keep it playing. That's cool. We can gain these a bit more, I think. So this is going up and down a bit more because it is not that much. Like it was 2-3 decibels for each. We can go to like 5. This goes to 5. This goes. Let's switch some of these around as well, so we do get some different shapes. So this one going down and up. How much is that's too much? And this one down here. So we have a bunch of different EQ shapes basically going around, and now it should be a lot more obvious that there's movement going on. Which is really cool. So now if we add our ambience, it smears it, but you can hear that there's movement happening in the sound, which is really what we want. So the final thing to do is set a master volume, and I'm just going to do it like this. So it just goes down a bit and it gives it a bit of energy. So what this would do is it would basically be a transition between here and here, right? So that's why the volume is that way. Finally, I'm going to set a little bit less reverb, and we'll select a different reverb that might work better. That's pretty cool. Obviously, we don't want to loop it now, so otherwise it won't override it. If you guys want, I don't know if you all are here for this, if this is interesting enough. If you guys say, well, this is not really that interesting, I'd like to see you do something else maybe, then we can do that. Did I add this to the pack? Because it still has the filter. Yeah, okay. So it might not finish out then. Or it might be a bit too long, that's okay. We can copy the name, throw it in here. Oh, I did it again. You want to consolidate it so that the fade and the length of the clip comes as part of the file. Yeah, as I was saying, if at any point you say this is not interesting enough, then we can do something else. I don't have to do this. It's just that I kind of want to do this because I want to finish these. But if you say, well, I want to see you produce some normal music, or I'd like to see something else. I have some questions. I have problems with my own music. I want to maybe get some feedback. We can listen to some music from you. There's a whole bunch of different things that we can do. You guys don't have to just sit here and not participate in the stream. I hope to create a stream which is a little bit more interactive. So at any point in time, if you have a question, if you have anything that you want to say, don't feel shy to say what you have on your mind. Let's try Vital. I have bought Vital because for a song I wanted to do text to speech. I'm from Brazil. You taught me a lot. Thank you. That's nice to hear. So yeah, I bought Vital. One, I was inspired to learn a new synth, and Vital seemed like the most obvious choice. And two, I really liked your videos about recreating some artists. Nice. I'm glad you like them. I do new stuff now, so I'm not really into that anymore, but I still like the old videos that I did. Right now I want to focus more on concepts rather than individual sounds, but it's still cool to see people also using those. So I'm kind of just going to play here with... Thank you for sharing. Thank you for watching. Okay. I'm just kind of blown away by the capabilities. I should have a whole bunch of new, wavetables kind of things. So we maybe try out some of those. Bas Ziris. Let's see what the different options are here. Performance scale. That sounds like an interesting option. Let's FM from oscillator A and then turn the level down. And let's just see what kind of tones we get if we loop something.